The first 24 hours after what many are now calling the silver order felt unreal. While most people were still waking up, markets were already reacting. Banks were already shaking, and quiet moves were happening behind closed doors that almost no mainstream outlet wanted to explain. This wasn't a rumor. This wasn't a leak. This was day one, and the aftermath hit fast. What looked calm on the surface was already cracking underneath, and by the time most viewers realized something was wrong, the damage was already spreading. Yesterday, the announcement sounded simple: a restructuring, a monetary adjustment, a so-called stability measure tied to silver and hard assets. But in reality, this move triggered a $2,000 reset across multiple financial layers, and the institutions least prepared for it were the same ones experts warned about 4 years. The so-called death bag banks, overloaded with synthetic exposure, over-leveraged derivatives, and empty promises, suddenly found themselves trapped. And when the market stops believing in confidence, things collapse quickly. Before we go further, if you want clear breakdowns like this without the noise, take a second to like the video and subscribe. Market Truth Archives exists for one reason only: to explain what others avoid in plain English, without hype or fear tactics. That small action helps more people find this information while it still matters. Now let's talk about what actually happened after day one. The reset didn't show up as flashing red numbers on every screen. That's not how real shifts work. It started quietly. Liquidity pulled back. Overnight lending rates spiked. Certain banks suddenly stopped offering products they had been pushing aggressively just days before. Credit lines were frozen without explanation. And if you notice financial institutions going strangely silent on social media, that wasn't a coincidence. The silver-linked mechanism changed how collateral was valued. That alone reshuffled the board. Assets that were once inflated by paper leverage were suddenly forced to be priced against something tangible. And when that happens, exposure becomes visible. Some banks passed the stress instantly, others didn't. Those that didn't are the same ones now, scrambling behind the scenes, selling assets, cutting risk, and trying to survive the next phase. What makes this moment different isn't just the reset itself, it's the speed. Usually, these processes take months, sometimes years, but this one compressed timelines. It forced immediate recalculations. And the institutions holding what insiders called death bags were hit first. These are portfolios filled with assets that only work as long as the system pretends everything is fine. The moment reality touches them, they implode. Day one also revealed something important. Retail investors didn't panic the way analysts expected. There was no mass sell-off from individuals. Instead, institutional flows told the real story. Quiet exits, sudden hedges, emergency repositioning. That tells you who was truly exposed, and it tells you who had advanced knowledge of risk. You may have noticed headlines saying everything is stable, that markets are resilient, that this is all being managed. But those headlines don't explain why certain banks suddenly restricted withdrawals in specific regions. They don't explain why metals inventories moved overnight. They don't explain why internal memos leaked warning of temporary disruptions without any time. The $2,000 reset wasn't about making people rich overnight. It was about re-anchoring value. And when value is re-anchored, illusions disappear. For years, the system ran on confidence alone. Day one proved confidence is no longer enough. What happens next matters more than what already happened. Because day one is just the shockwave. The real impact comes when secondary effects begin. Credit. Reduced lending. Businesses feeling pressure weeks later and not knowing why. Consumers noticing prices shift without explanation. That's how these resets actually affect real lives. At Market Truth Archives, we've tracked moments like this before. The pattern is always the same. First denial, then distraction, then dilute acknowledgement. And finally, restructuring. We are currently between denial and distraction. That window doesn't last long. Another detail most people missed is how carefully language was used. No emergency wording, no crisis framing. Everything designed to sound calm. That's intentional, because panic would accelerate the collapse of already weakened institutions. Silence buys time. Time allows repositioning, and repositioning determines who survives. If you're still watching, you already understand this isn't about fear. It's about awareness. Knowing how systems shift helps you avoid being the last to react. History shows that those who stay informed don't need to panic. Adaptación, as day one closed, after hours activity told its own story. Certain assets surged quietly. Others vanished from order books. Algorithms adjusted. Risk models updated. And by the time markets reopen fully, many positions will already be locked in. This is why early information matters. Not predictions. Not hype. Just understanding what's unfolding in real time. That's the goal here. As we move into the next phase, watch what banks do. Not what they say. Watch lending behavior. Watch collateral rules. Watch liquidity signals. Those tell the truth faster than any press conference. If you found value in this breakdown, share it with someone who's trying to make sense of what's happening, and drop a comment below. Do you think this reset stabilizes the system, or is it the first crack in something much bigger? Your perspective matters, and the discussion helps others see angles they might miss. Day one is over. The aftermath has begun. And whether people realize it or not, the system just crossed a line it can't uncross. Stay aware, stay calm, and stay tuned with Market Truth Archives, because the next moves won't be announced. They'll be felt.